Hey, what's up, guys? Gonna go over this stuff real quick, if anyone's interested. I'm gonna go over the first part really quick. There's tons of people doing this. So Lulika, she's getting a defense break on her S1, two-turn defense break. A lot of units have that. It does more damage to lost health. That didn't change. They added 10% chance to defense break, and now, instead of increasing damage of her S3, she gains more attack, which in turn helps her S2, helps her S1. I pulled Lulika when I was pulling for Lilibet, so maybe I'll build her now. I don't know. We'll see. I don't like the fact that her AI uses her defense buff. And in a lot of situations where I'd be using Lidica, I would be autoing, and I feel like it would just make my runs take longer. Maybe in Guild Wars she could be a little bit more usable now, like in longer fights. We'll see. Bela Cezanne got a huge buff. I forgot what his multiplier was on his S2 before. I think it was like a 0.85. If I were to guess. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was. But he's still a fire unit. I think he's going to do a lot better in PvE. Like, you throw him with Radiant Forever, and you put him in Raid, or you put him in Abyss, or against Golem, like, he's going to put in some work now with Radiant Forever. I forget what, I think it's 45% more damage. I forget what it is at plus 30, because mine's like plus 8 or something, but I think it gives like 30, so him with Radiant Forever in PvE is going to be really good. I don't know if he's really going to make a difference in PvP. Some people think he will, but in higher tiers he won't. He's a fire unit. There's still a lot of water units out there. Like, don't cleave with a fire unit. It's just not optimal right now, unless you're trying to do it with Kayron, but even still, like, I think the best... Well, cleaves are going to probably get better. I don't know, we'll see what happens with Crimson Armin, but... Ludwig, they just gave him a little bit more utility in his own kit to where, like, he can do stuff on his own. It's really not going to change much, in my opinion, because ideally, if you're running Ludwig, you want to use Blaze Dingo with him. I wouldn't use him without Blaze Dingo. You can maybe do what YDCB did in that Guild War video where he ran him with double lots. Like, that could work a little bit better with this change, but other than that, nothing's really different here. It's a slight tune-up. He probably will be better in PvE. Tenembria, 50% on S1 for sleep. Still a fire unit. I don't see me using her like really in PvP, but maybe the reduced cooldown on her Nightmare and the extra 10% defense break, she might be a little bit better for like Asymanic now, or something like that. Maybe Golem, but like a sleep on an S1 on a fire unit is whatever. She's not going to get that CR boost in a PvE situation where she's hitting a boss, so it's whatever, really. Leo is interesting. I don't think his S3 is going to stun for 2 turns, because that's a little busted. But I'm glad to see they're tuning up more 4-stars, because that's what I would like to see. I don't know why regular Dom isn't in here, because there's a lot of regular Armin. Like, if you're going to buff ML Armin, at least buff regular Armin too, you know? But his changes are cool. Higher chance to use Sparrow Dive, which I believe is his S2. I forget what it does. I haven't looked at him in forever. I have him 5-star because I pulled enough dupes to just use his dupes to promote him to 5-star. So, and then the 75% chance stun. I think that's what Araminta should be tuned down to. But good changes. Roman's interesting. He's gonna be pretty. He's gonna be kind of like a little bit like more like Lidica in PvE situations. Like, he's a more accessible Lidica. In PvP, he can be used, I think, but I don't think he's going to really impact it that much. Like, his base speed is 103, 106, something like that. So getting him really fast is not going to be easy if you want him to go first. There's going to be a lot of units out there that are faster than him. And even depending on what they do to ML balances on, like, probably still going to be better than him. Or even just running a unit with Ayala's Violin is probably still going to be better as a stripper because they provide more utility to the team. He's interesting. He could lock stuff down. Maybe him, built really well, paired with Corvus with that CR manipulation and a Guild War defense. That could be really annoying. Like if you throw something like a Violet on that team too. Like that team might be pretty well. And he comes with a defense imprint, which is also nice to help with those tankier red, blue, green defense teams. Like he might be an option there. We'll have to see. I don't know if I'm going to build mine. Mine is level 50 and 5-star. But we'll just have to see. And then Ricorus. I heard there's still a bug with him that they haven't addressed it, but addressed. So, Quick Pierce. That's his S1, right? So they, oh wow, a 75% chance of defense break. That's pretty good. And then attacks with the spirit chance. Okay, why did they put this in here twice? Oh, because it's regular Ricorus and Captain Ricorus. Okay. Supreme Spear heals more, does a lot more damage. That's good. And then a lot of people feel like his issue is that he's not tanky enough. He's just a piece of paper. This isn't a big change. I mean, 10% more health and 5% more defense. That isn't going to make a huge difference when something's hitting you for 20k. Ras got a little buff. That's pretty cool. Basically, they just added a strip to his S1. That's really all they did. I thought Ras is already decent, like if you use them in certain situations. Okay, now down here, I want to talk about these the most. So for buffs expected, like Bassar, Euphine, Lilibet, Lidica, ML Coley. I guess I'll kind of go through those units. Like Bassar, I haven't used Bassar. I pulled him on my alt with my free ticket, but he is a good unit. Like some people do use him. Like shout out to Chenson. Like he attacked me with a Bassar, and I think that was around Legend 5 or so. Like, so Bassar is getting used, like he's good. And he's the only unit that does what he does. He's the only unit that has a strip and an unable to be buffed debuff. And he's green. So he's already good. Like, I don't know what else they're going to change with him, because I haven't really used him. Euphine, I could tell right off the bat. Like, I've used Euphine a lot. Mine's not max awakened, but she is 6-star. She's +5, I think, or +7. Like, I used her for a bit. And her biggest issue is her soul burn is fucking bad. It gives her an extra turn, but, like, I feel the way I would change Euphine is I would move her soul burn onto her S2. That way you could soul burn her S2, get your speed and get your attack buff, and then use your S3. That would give her a lot more utility, because soul burning S1, like, yeah, and I think they could possibly increase the chance to strip on her S2. Because, yeah, she gains more damage if a target is buffed on her S3, but if you have her built well enough, you don't even need that extra damage. She'll one-shot something still, if there's no Crimson Armin present. But that's kind of how I look at her. Lilibet, like, her S2 does not really fit with her kit at all, so I think they could do something with her S2 to make it better. And then Lidica. Lidica is obviously great for PvE, but if they want her to be more usable in PvP, then they need to, like, she gets dumped on by immunity. And she really doesn't do much else other than lock a single unit down. And she's fire still, so there's really not many earth units, for example, that you'd want to lock down in a defense in most situations. Like, the only really one, like, you can hit a Violet with that, but even still, you can get dodged. So, I don't know really what I would do with Lidica. I think her S2 is great when you soul burn it. Like, I just don't know. All she does is push CR, and that's a good thing. Like if she can lock down a unit, she can really lock it down. The skill nullifier is really good. So I don't even know what I would do to change her, to be honest. Like, I don't know what she needs. Maybe if they added a strip to her S3 before it applied the CR decrease, that would make her more usable in PvP. And because she gets completely shut down by immunity, and that's the only way I see to address that. Or give her S2 a strip, an AoE strip, and add an extra turn mechanic to where she can strip with S2, apply a hit debuff, and then use S3. 20 souls. Like, maybe something like that. That's all I can really think of. With ML Kali, I could tell they're trying to give her... They're based on what they said the last time they tried to mess with her, is they're trying to give her S3... Her silence on her S3, like, more accessibility. That's what I think they're trying to do. I don't know how I would do that. Maybe just have it not even go with the stun. Like, just have the silence there. I mean, there's units that do that already. Like, Oxlots has a 2-turn AoE silence on his S3. So, I mean, she's really fast, obviously. But I think they're trying to give her more utility in her silence. I think that's what they're trying to do. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think that's what they're going to do. Because the change before really didn't do anything. Immunity is still an issue. Maybe, again, if they added a strip on her S3 before the stun applied or something. That's really all I could see being done with her. And then, for the nerfs expected, like, this is how I would adjust these units, and it's a very easy fix that makes them not OP, I think, but it also makes them still usable. ML Araminta, like, people say she's not a problem, but she's a problem paired with Bale. Like, obviously people say that say ML Araminta isn't a problem haven't gone up against an Araminta that's in Ambition. Because if your team gets hit with a full strip, and then an Araminta on, say, Abyssal Crown with 200% effectiveness hits your entire team is stunned. Like, 95% of the time. Unless you're running something with 200 effective resist. Which, even then, still a coin toss, and you're most likely, there's still an 85% chance there that you're going to get stunned. So I think they just tone that down a bit, make it 75, and then just leave her at that. That way, building that high effectiveness Araminta, like, it's still going to be potent, because 75% is still high. But, there's at least a chance now that your entire team won't get stunned. Which would be nice, That's kind of how I would tone her down a bit. I think more of an issue with mages is, like, some of the artifacts are more of an issue than the mage itself. Abyssal Crown is busted, Siren is busted, Tag of Hells is busted, Etika's is, I wouldn't say it's busted, it's really good. But, like, mage artifacts are extremely powerful, and that's what makes some of these mages seem like they're stronger than they actually are. And I don't think that's what people are looking at. They just look at the hero itself. But I think Abyssal Crown or Siren on top of Araminta is what makes her stupid strong. And, that comes with, like, maxed artifacts or whatever, and then really good gear, And that's what people are starting to complain about. And then, I guess, yeah, there's harder ways to deal with her at lower levels, but I don't know. Those people will probably end up quitting the game anyways if they're complaining about a unit and master. ML Balance is on. The way I would fix him. Kind of talked about this with the guild last night. And I agree. Like, I don't think they should change his S2. Like, I think his S1 is a little bit high chance, so maybe tone that down to like 65 or 50 at max. Because one of his issues is that he locks down a unit. But his S2 is what he does. You take that away from him, he doesn't do anything. Like, his S3 is completely useless. And, like, I use balances on. So, Sage balances on. So I think they take away his S2, like the combat readiness he gets, like it makes him useless. Because he does no damage on his S3 anyways. So that's something they need to address too, is maybe make him a little bit more like Crow. If they're going to tone down the utility he has, make him do some more damage, because he doesn't do anything but strip and sleep. That's literally all he does. And people are annoyed with that, but it's like you can deal with it if you have the right unit or you have the right build. But if I were to make a suggestion on his S2, I don't know, maybe tone down how much he gets to 20, maybe 15. I feel like 15 would be too low. Or make it to where it applies once or twice a turn. So where like he only gets a max of 50 or a max of 25. That way, it still gives him his turn 1 utility, but in a longer drawn out fight, he's not as annoying. But that's really all he is now. He's just annoying. He's not... Like he kind of puts a stops to some things, but that's just because he's annoying. I don't think he's necessarily overpowered, because he's real easy to deal with if you have the right units. So that's my take on balances on Vildred. I advocated for his buff. I didn't even have the unit, and I thought he was useless because like whenever I fought a Vildred, I would just kill him twice and he would die. And one of the suggestions I made, I didn't make it to anybody, but this is what I felt like he needed, was the 100% CR push when he revived. I thought that was something he needed, but I didn't think he needed a 30% damage increase and an attack buff on top of that. So literally he got an 80% damage increase when he revived, which is ridiculous. Actually, it's more than that, because it would be 30% on top of his initial and then 50% extra. So it's actually more than that. I think they just take away the attack buff. I don't really think they need to scale his damage down in the beginning, but when he revives, I don't think he should get an attack buff. Maybe change it to where, like, his attack increases when he revives, and, you know, maybe make it a stacking thing, so if he manages to revive multiple times, then he gets a continual attack increase, maybe like a 10% increase every time, not a straight up 50 when he revives that just melts your entire team with no defense breaks. You know, I think that's just a little ridiculous. Maybe make it, you know how like Lulika's S3 is? Maybe increase the damage of his S3 with each use. That way, if you keep him alive longer, he's still useful. His damage isn't nerfed. But in those situations where he dies and comes back, he doesn't immediately win. Like, I think that's his problem. That's how I would fix him. And then ML Armin, I'm very against nerfing her, because I think it's not going to be healthy for the game. It's going to, like, cleave teams are just going to run rampant. I don't think nerfing her is a great idea, but I think if they absolutely have to, maybe take a turn of immunity off of her S3. I could see that being reasonable. It's not going to make her unusable. And then, like, with her S2 is really the problem, not so much the immunity. Maybe instead of 30%, let's see, instead of 30% max Molid crit damage increase, make it maybe like, I'm trying to find a good number here, because 20, I feel like maybe just 20 flat out damage reduction for the team. That way, at least it'll reduce non-crits as well, but at the same time reduce crit damage on top of that, but it'll be a smaller value. I think that would make her more usable, but that's kind of how I think I would do that. I would probably not recall her and get rid of her if they did something like that. But I think if they can't take away her S2. Like, I'm very keen on, like, this is another discussion. It's kind of eavesdropping in last night on the guild. But, like, you can't take away a unit's identity. Like, ML Araminta, she burns and stuns your team. That's what she does. You can't take it away from her. Like, you can tone it down. ML Balsazan strips and sleeps your team. You can't take that away from him. That's his identity. That's what the unit does. Vildred, he revives and cleaves. That's what he does. He needs to do that. But I think, and Crimson Armin, obviously, she's a wall for your team. She helps your team survive against cleaves. That's her identity. That's what she does. So you can't take that away from these units. Like you can tone it down, or you can give us more options to do what they do. I don't think removing a unit's identity, unless you're going to do a complete revamp of the unit, I don't think that's good. Like, tone stuff down, don't nerf it into the dirt. I kind of want to trade stuff. I mean, they said they're considering memory imprints. I imprinted my Sage Bale and Sazan with a regular one, so I don't know if that means I'm going to get the regular one back or if they're going to give me 2 Bale and Sazans. Because in the cases of people with Dark Corvus, well, not really Dark Corvus, but like Araminta that have her at triple S, for example, like, if they recall her, are they going to have like 5 Aramintas? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm sure they can go back through the coding on, like, what you imprinted the unit with. Like, if you use the slate, you'll get the slate back. If you use the regular unit, you'll get the regular unit back. If I get my Bale back that I imprinted him with, I might build him because I'm kind of curious to see how he performs with the damage buff. So I might do that. Depending on what they do with him. If they nerf him into the dirt, I'm going to trade him for either Dark Corvus or Judge Kisei. My top pick is ML Ravi. I think if ML Ravi is in the pool, I'm going to pick her. That way I could just save my Mystics until the next Mystic rotation. And I'll have like 3,000 of them saved up, which would be awesome. And then I have really good gear for ML Ravi. So I could put in some work with her. I have some really good gear for her. Like some kin gear that I don't have a kin. So if I can trade for her, that's something I'm definitely going to do. And then Crimson Armin, I know I've imprinted her. Like, she's double S right now. I've used all regular Armins and then 1 extra Crimson. So if I can recall her, like, even if she's, like, she's still going to be usable, I hope. And then I'm going to trade her for either Fat Cat or Oxlots and then hopefully still have one because I imprinted her with a dupe. So that's my goal. With my exchange tickets, if it goes down this way, I think it's going to. They've been talking about exchange tickets too much for them to not give it to us. So that's how I feel about that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and show you guys this. So you have the next video to look forward to. Here we go. Hurry up, please. I recalled my Sez, like I said, and I 6-starred my Zerato. So I'm using him, trying to get some Mola into him. I need 2 more Molas to get the max effect chance on his S3. And then, like, I'll just kind of show you his stats right now, what I'm working with. It's pretty good. He doesn't do terribly a lot of damage, but that's not really what I'm going to use him for. Like, I'm using him in Golem right now, so these are his stats. I did try him out in Arena, and he can work. And I got an idea for a team. I want to do BBK next, maybe. It depends. I'm probably going to end up... I'm going to pull Bologna, which... I'm planning on streaming my Bologna pools, so that's something to look forward to as well. And I want to 6-star her next. So I'm building up my fodder for her. I'm almost done with my Butcher Corpse. SC, I need to farm a little bit more. I'm farming stage 6-6 for the guys. And then, as you can see down here, I'm working on fodder like hell right now to get ready for Bologna. So, future videos, kind of something to look forward to. You guys have a good one. Peace out.